Howdy everyone, my name's Corey with Art's Really Cool. Today we're going to make another painting, specifically for my friend Faith, who happens to live in Texas, far from where I am. Her favorite holiday is Halloween. She absolutely adores it. She takes it off from work every year. She doesn't go do anything crazy. She just loves to decorate. She just loves the holiday, loves the excitement behind it, loves all the crazy jewelry, everything about it. She just loves it. So Faith and I met almost 20 years ago at work. We got to know each other. Maybe it was 15, let's say 15 years. We got to know each other really well throughout that experience and became quite close friends. We went out drinking, I think for the first time, and they were playing fun music, and I was like, it was just a bar with a small dance floor. I was like, ooh, let's dance, come on. And she was like, no, I don't dance unless I've had a little bit more. And I was like, oh, come on. And she's like, well, what I will do is my special dance, where she sits, and she calls it the orangutan. And Adrian's going to come help me do it. And it's very simple, it's very fun, and it goes like this. Put your hands up, wiggle them around, then put your hands down, wiggle them around. Put your hands back up and wiggle them around, put them down. So that is the orangutan. One of my favorite memories with her is learning that dance. So anyways, what we're doing, making a Halloween painting, right? The first couple things that I haven't talked about so far in any of these videos that I want to share is you need to, as you probably have noticed, have your paintings raised up from the actual surface that you're pouring on. Because if you don't, when the paint runs off to the side, this will stick, and it'll be really hard to lift it up without like jerking it around. So what I use are these little push pins. They're big push pins for my thicker canvases, and then I have these little tiny tray things for the skinnier canvases. It's easier to move them around that way. These aren't too hard to push in. The canvas has these two wood pieces that connect right there. You can slide the push pin right in between. It takes a little force, but not too much. And then the next thing is making sure that your painting is level. Be it the painting itself or the table or both, it just needs to be level. And the way you check that is just take an actual level, put it on there, make sure that the level is level, and you want to check it that way, across both sides. I already looked, so that's why I'm doing it. And then this way. That way you know that the whole thing's level, and your painting, when you're done letting it dry a little bit, won't run and mess up. I've had several paintings get ruined that way by me not making sure it was level, and I left it overnight to dry, and when I came out, everything had kind of run off to the side. It's very disheartening and frustrating, especially if it was one you liked. The method I'm going to use today is it's called the colander pour. This isn't quite a colander, but it gets the gist of it. And I'm going to put it in the center here and pour paint through it. First, I'm going to make a cup full of all of these different paints, and then I'm going to pour that in here, slowly letting it run through, and it'll come out. Looks pretty cool. And then once it gets all the paints out of there and it's all out here, I will then stretch this around to make it cover the whole canvas, and it'll create a really cool design that we can do other things with, which we'll talk about when we get there. You can place this, I do it in the center, but you can place this anywhere you want. Just know that the paint is going to run. If you put it over here, it's going to run off to the edge unless you do actually purposefully tilt the painting up. It'll make things run that way. It's going to change the design. It's your choice, of course, but I do the middle so that it makes this cool, like, circular type thing. My whole point here is for a Halloween-esque theme, kind of to emote maybe a pumpkin, the essence of a pumpkin. We'll see how it turns out. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to stack our paints. I'm using green, a purple, a red orange that I made, mixing orange and red. I don't know if I made a special red or not. And then an orange I mixed with a little bit of white to make a light orange. Regular brown, and then a regular white. These, you can see they all look used because they are leftover paints that I created something else with, and I want to use them rather than waste them. So I'm just going to use these. I've got several leftover paints or several paints pre-mixed. So I've got a lot of choices. So that's why I was able to find these to make this painting. All right, so we're going to layer it. And the way that you do it, there's a couple different ways. You can do a straight drop down and the paint will fill up this way. But when you pour it like that, it's going to sink through the colors. So it'll make a different like feel to it. What I want is I want layers. So I want it to show like the different layer colors as it stacks up. And how you do that is you just tilt the cup that you're filling up slightly and then pour the paint right here. You'll see when I do it, and it runs down the side of it to create a cool effect. All right, and you can pour different amounts to get different thickness of the layers. And you can pour that much, and then you just kind of go through. You can pick whatever order you want them to be in. You just have, sorry, trying to pour and think at the same time, and it doesn't work. The brown I'm going to use more as running color, and I'll show you what I mean by that when we get to pouring. But basically I'm using it so that it'll help the paint that I pour run a little bit easier, so that all my paint isn't stretching and pulling off the side, rather it's moving smoothly. And I do want a little bit of brown in it, just a little bit. The more layers you pour, the more rings you'll get when you do cup pours like this. Alright, so this is the finished cup that I'm going to stop at. I probably actually have way more paint than I need. But you can see the different layers here. I used purple a lot more in these different spots. Her favorite color is purple. So because I poured along the side, which you can see on here is just kind of a muddy area, because I did that, it allowed me to create these layers. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to pour out. I'm going to tip it and pour out from this side because I want it to stay this way. And what that's going to do is create basically the rings, if you will. So, magic of editing, I'm going to be standing right now. Alright, so here is our blank canvas. Here is the strainer colander thingy. And here's the paint, obviously. I'm going to take it, and all I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to pour this into here. I'm going to center this, make sure that it's exactly where I want it to be, or approximately. Nothing's exact in fluid paint. And then I'm going to choose to start pouring it directly in the center, and you'll see it kind of run out and slowly roll out and create a pretty interesting pattern. Let's get started. I'm going to do it kind of slow at first. And I'll move it around a little bit here because it will change the design that comes out. I don't know if you can see that, but it's already creating a cool design on the inside. Speed it up just a little bit because I'm impatient. Oops, sorry, I had to take a deep breath. That made me move. Nobody saw that. Close your eyes. You can see the super cool design it's creating on the outside there. I'm going to pause for a second. There was a chunk and it caught on this and I can get it.
Save.
Got lucky on that one. Now there's going to be a noticeable difference in design because of that change, which is totally fine. You'll just be able to see where we changed the core. Alright, and we're essentially done. Okay, I'm done. I'm done holding this cup. Okay, so you can see the pattern that it's created as it kind of looks like to me that shape of a peacock. Now that it's almost done running out of the strainer thing, I'm going to lift it up. And how you do that is I'm putting on my handy dandy gloves right now. I'm sure you could hear that. No, I'm not a surgeon. These are just gloves for paint. So all you do is you just get ready. You slowly lift it at first to let the paint run out. And then you lift it pretty quickly. Put your hand under it to hopefully not make a big mess. As you can see, it's got a kind of a cool design in the center here. It's even more interesting than the outside. You've got all the different lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to torch this painting. And why I need to do that is because there's a bunch of air bubbles and I need them to pop now before I start stretching it. It gets rid of the chance of them popping later on and creating a bunch of pinpricks at a later time. So we didn't get as much purple as I wanted. I mean, I poured only a gallon of it in there. You would have expected more to show. But let's go ahead and start to stretch it out. I'm going to do it in a circle because I want it to kind of keep its design. So I'm just going to start over here. And then I'm going to bring it back in to get it back to center. And then I'm going to stretch it this way. I'm going to bring it back in to the center, and I noticed that I didn't do this part yet. It was moving slower than I want, so I'm going to pour this paint on the edges here. This paint will run off the edge when we continue to tilt, but what it's going to do is it's going to help make it so that the paint itself doesn't all, like it doesn't roll over and all run off. It will help it run. You'll see when I start pouring. Or start stretching, sorry. So now I'm going to stretch up. You can see like it keeps that shape. That edge is still there. It's not rolling over. So watch kind of up here compared to here. You'll see it kind of run over, and you see that little green arch, it just disappeared. Because I didn't have paint right there, so it didn't get a chance to run off. I'm going to tip this to run it off the top here. Alright, I'm bringing it back to the center. I'm doing this slowly because I want to kind of keep the shape. And I just poured it off all the way to the edge to get that brown spot gone. This gives me a little bit more of a Thanksgiving vibe. Because of the peacock-esque. Now with rain pours and cup pours and all of that, you can do a lot of stuff with them. They're very versatile. One of the things that we could have done that I don't often do because it makes me I'm too nervous, is you can do what's called wrecking. And essentially what that is where you just draw through. Like you just take a something like this and you just draw right through it before you stretch it out. And then when you stretch it, it creates really kind of cool designs. Give it a try if you're doing this at home, or find a video where you can see it. I'll maybe do one down the road. But for right now, it makes me too nervous that I'm going to ruin my painting. Right now I'm just touching up the sides so that everything's got paint on it and we don't see the canvas. And all you have to do that is just scoop up from under the area where the paint fell off when you were tilting and just dab it on. You want to do it from where the paint fell off, preferably, so it doesn't look out of place. Alright, so we've got, I wouldn't go with Halloween, but I will go with a fall vibe. It got a little bit of a pumpkin-esque feel if you use your imagination. When you look at this part with the extra little circle, and if you look at it from this angle, this being the bottom, it's got kind of a dip in it like it does on a pumpkin, how a pumpkin looks. So from this angle, it's kind of pumpkin-y or apple-y, either way. But it's a cool design nonetheless. So this is it wet. We got to give it probably a few days to dry enough to shoot the dried version, and then another couple weeks to varnish it. So we will take the dry shot and show you what it looked like when it's dry, because it will dry a little bit darker, it'll look a little different, but we'll see it when time comes. All right, so here is the dried version of this fall Halloween-esque painting. I'll start up in this corner over here. I like that there's all the colors visible. Like you can see all the different ones in the rows or the lines that kind of look like a peacock feather. And I like that this is one of the few spots that the white actually came through. And if you go over towards the right here, you'll see as we pan over the different greens coming through, and then the purples, and then the reddish orange and the light orange by this corner, and they all pop a little bit of fall for me. Like this is a fall feeling for me when I see this, and I like that there's a different corner piece, like it's a little bit different than the rest of it. And then if you go down here, not my favorite, down towards the bottom part of the painting, it ended up becoming a little bit more muddy or brown than I would like. I was kind of hoping more of it would be like the top part, but I do like the contrast of this bottom part to the top colorful part. And like I said, if I go for the essence of pumpkin, right in the center here, if I put it at this angle, I can see a little bit of the essence of a pumpkin right in the middle with the little white dots kind of outlining it. So anyways, that's what this looked dry. I think it's kind of nice, and it does call out fall for me. Not quite Halloween, but I do like it anyway. And we'll do some more going forward. Give me any kind of color comments or combinations that you want, and we'll see what we can do with that. Bye!